Okay, so maybe you've heard of this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck. And maybe you're thinking, is this thing actually worth my time?
Yeah,
I mean, it's popular, but it seems like people either love it or hate it.
definitely.
That's why we did a deep dive into all the reviews and articles out there, all those different opinions. So think of this as like your cheat sheet to figure out if this book is for you.
Yeah, and we'll get straight to it. If you're kind of tired of all that like fluffy self-help stuff, then you want something more straight talking,
Yeah.
This might be up your alley.
Right. It's all about like a no-nonsense approach to personal growth. But like we said, it's definitely not for everyone.
For sure.
So let's break it down a little bit. First up, who is this book actually for?
Okay.
Let's imagine someone who's tried other self-help books and found them a little too, I don't know,
Yeah.
saccharine, maybe even too sweet, not really getting to the point.
Right.
So the subtle art is for those people who just want a dose of reality, even if it comes with a few rough edges.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty clear right from the title even.
Right.
And then how he writes too. He uses a lot of profanity.
Yes.
Especially at the beginning. He kind of admits like it's a choice to shake things up a bit.
It's funny because some reviewers loved that, like, yeah, cut through the crap,
Yeah,
get to the point.
totally.
Others were not so into it.
No.
One person even said that Mark Manson has, like, the personality of a dude.
Yeah. Well, there's that story about, when he told his wife she looked bad,
Oh, yeah.
which, not the most tactful.
Yeah. Not exactly winning Husband of the Year award with that one.
Right.
Okay, so maybe not the most sensitive guy. But what about the actual content of the book?
Right.
Some people are saying it's shallow, it's repetitive, like, just read the Stoics, go to the source, read Buddhist texts.
Well, it's true that he borrows a lot from those philosophies.
Yeah.
But he puts it in a very accessible, very modern way of speaking, right?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, his whole thing about taking responsibility for your own reality.
Mhm.
Isn't that just common sense?
Yeah.
Being an adult?
It does sound simple,
Yeah.
but he really pushes you to look at specific areas where, where maybe negativity is controlling your life.
Oh, okay.
And then he gives strategies for breaking free from that. Like one thing he talks about is stop worrying about things you can't control.
Okay, yeah.
Like, traffic.
Right.
Focus your energy on what you can actually influence.
Okay, so I see how that is kind of going beyond just, you know, basic adulting.
Yeah.
It's more about choosing how you're going to respond
Yes, exactly.
to the stuff that life throws at you.
It's like shifting your mindset.
Okay,
You're not a victim.
right.
You can be the architect of your own experience.
Okay.
And this really connects with people who, don't have time to read like super long philosophy books.
Right.
They might not have even taken classes in that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's almost like a gateway
Yeah.
to thinking more deeply.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you get a taste of Stoicism, you get a taste of Buddhism, but through this, like, more relatable lens.
Exactly.
So how does that compare to some of the other big self-help books out there?
Right.
Because there are a lot, and a lot of them have that, like, classic positivity focus.
Yeah, and this is actually a pretty big contrast. He pushes back against that whole good vibes only thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So he's saying it's actually okay to not be okay.
Exactly. He says chasing happiness all the time can actually make you miserable.
Okay.
Because you're always focused on what you don't have
Right.
instead of appreciating what's right there. Yeah, he even says that, like, accepting those negative things in your life,
Yeah.
that can be, like, a positive in itself.
Whoa, okay, hold on. So you're saying, like, accepting something bad can actually be good.
Yeah.
That seems a little counterintuitive, right?
Well, think about it this way. When you fight those bad feelings, when you're always trying to force yourself to be happy,
Yeah.
you're kind of making yourself suffer more. You're just battling reality.
Right.
But when you just accept that, yeah, life is going to be messy, there's going to be pain, there's going to be disappointment,
Right. It's part of the deal.
you can finally let go of that struggle.
Okay, so I get it. It's like, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
just accept the shape of the peg,
Right.
you can find a different hole that fits.
Yeah, and this leads into his whole thing about choosing your values, right?
Yeah.
He says we only have so many like fucks to give,
Right, right.
and we got to be careful about what we spend them on.
Oh, I like that. It's like a budget,
Yeah,
but for your mental energy.
exactly. So he gives you these tools to figure out what's actually important to you
Okay.
and then let go of the rest. Like, for example, maybe your relationships are the most important thing to you.
Uh-huh.
So you choose to not worry so much about, those surface level achievements.
Okay.
Or if you're all about creative expression,
Right.
you might be okay with having a job that's not like the typical career path.
So it's all about deciding what success really means to you.
Yes.
Not just like what society tells you or what everybody else is doing.
It's about you.
Okay.
And honestly, that can be super freeing, especially now,
Yeah.
when we're constantly told what to buy, how to look, what we should be achieving.
Right, like you're always falling short.
Exactly. So he's saying slow down, figure out your own values, and then go after that.
Okay, but doesn't that sound a little too simple?
Right.
Like, what about people who are dealing with real hardship?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because of the system, things they can't control.
Yeah.
Is he saying they should just accept that and not try to change anything?
And that's a really important point. And this is actually where some of the criticism comes in.
Okay.
People say he kind of downplays those bigger problems like social injustice.
Yeah.
Even now, he kind of blames people for their situations, which is a really touchy subject.
Right, because there's a difference between taking responsibility for your own actions
Yeah.
and ignoring those real barriers that a lot of people face.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the book gets kind of tricky.
Okay.
He talks a lot about personal agency,
Yeah.
but he doesn't always talk about like privilege and systemic issues.
Yeah, that's a big concern. And speaking of problematic stuff, what about the relationship advice he gives?
Okay.
Specifically, that whole, like, neg thing.
Right. Yeah, he's gotten a lot of heat for that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's about putting someone down
Yeah, to make them feel insecure.
to try and get them more interested in you.
Like that negging trend from a few years ago.
Exactly.
Not a fan.
Yeah, and that story about how he liked how blunt people are in Russia,
Oh, yeah.
that rubbed some people the wrong way, too.
Yeah.
Like he was saying, that a culture that can be very dismissive and harsh is a good thing.
So it sounds like there are some red flags with this book.
Definitely.
Especially if you're, like, sensitive to things like sexism, emotional manipulation, cultural stuff.
You want to be aware of all that going in.
So we've talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But for someone who's still undecided, what's the verdict?
Okay.
Is this book really insightful, or is it just common sense with, like, edgy language?
Honestly, I think it's a little of both.
Okay.
He's not really saying anything brand new,
Yeah.
philosophically speaking. But the way he talks about it, it does feel fresh. It feels relevant to how we live now.
So it's like self-help for people who hate self-help.
Yeah, kinda. He's talking to people who want a more realistic, grounded way to grow.
Yeah.
People who are tired of all the, empty positivity and just want real strategies for dealing with the messiness of life.
So if someone's looking for, like, a deep understanding of Stoicism or Buddhism,
Right.
they should probably just go straight to those sources.
Probably, yeah.
But if they want something quick, something entertaining, something that'll challenge their thinking a bit,
Yeah,
and maybe give them some useful takeaways, then The Subtle Art might be a good choice.
right. It just depends what you're looking for.
And of course, be ready for some strong language.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so I think we've given everyone a lot to think about.
Definitely.
But if we only have so many fucks to give, like Manson says, how do we even choose what to invest in?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah,
No easy answers there.
right.
But at least he's making us think about it, which is a good start.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's so easy to just get swept up in everything
Right.
and lose track of what really matters.
Totally. We're on autopilot, basically.
Yeah.
Just giving away our fucks to things that don't even make us happy.
It's true. And then you have all these messages coming at you from everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
telling you to buy this, look like that, achieve all this stuff.
It's exhausting.
It's impossible. You're always going to feel like you're not enough.
Exactly. And he's like, hey, step back for a second.
Yeah.
Figure out what you actually care about.
Define your own success,
Yes.
not what other people tell you it should be.
That can be really powerful,
Yeah.
taking back your time, your energy, focusing on what really aligns with you.
So it's not about, like, not caring about anything.
Right. No, not at all.
It's about choosing where you're going to invest your energy.
Being more selective with those
Exactly.
so you can really give a damn about the things that matter.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means like letting go of things that other people think you should care about.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's that fancy job that's making you miserable,
Right, right.
or trying to have that perfect Instagram life.
Yeah, the pressure is real.
He'd say, hey, it's okay to say not giving a fuck about that stuff.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit with what you value.
It's about picking your battles, I guess.
Right.
So focusing on what's going to make a real difference.
Exactly.
So to wrap this all up,
Okay.
is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fark a life-changing book? Or is it just another self-help trend?
I think it's somewhere in the middle, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Yeah, it's got its problems, but there's some good stuff in there, too.
Right.
For the right person, it could really resonate.
Exactly. It's definitely, it's thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It's entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it might help you do some self-reflection.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a help for everybody.
No, if you're easily offended by strong language,
Right.
or you're looking for something that goes really deep into philosophy,
Yeah, yeah.
it's probably not the book for you.
Okay. Fair enough.
But if you want something quick,
Yeah.
something that'll challenge you a bit, makes you think differently about self-help,
Uh-huh.
then, the subtle art could be worth a read. Just be prepared for those F-bombs.
Yeah, a few of those in there. Well, I think that gives everyone a lot to think about.
For sure.
So it's up to you to decide if this book is for you,
Yeah,
but hopefully this deep dive helps you make a more informed decision.
exactly. And hey, if you do read it, let us know what you think. Come find us on social media. Tell us all about it.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,
Keep learning.
and keep choosing what you truly give a fuck about. 2017 Rock.